All right. Today we're going to talk about theft of government property in the form of stealing SNAP benefits. Now, you say, what is that? SNAP benefits are food stamps, and if you purchase somebody's benefits and you're not supposed to have them, that's theft of government property. Now, when you run the card, that's considered to be wire fraud. Now, all over this country, people are getting charged with either theft of government property or wire fraud. Now, if it's over $1,000, it's a felony. So what does that mean? That means that just for trying to have a come up, as you might say, and buy somebody's food stamps for less than their worth, and at the same time giving them access to cash, you can end up with a felony on your record. Now, if it's under $1,000, it's a misdemeanor. Now, here's the problem, is that they can charge you with wire fraud. Wire fraud has a penalty of up to 20 years. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to spend 20 years in prison. However, that's the maximum. And when it comes to federal cases, federal judge can sentence you to anything that's considered to be reasonable. So that means that, yeah, you could spend time in jail, or you could end up with a fine. However, at the very least, you're going to have to pay all that damn money back. Now, let's go into some circumstances and some specific instances that are actually going on. You have your neighborhood store, right? Somebody owns a neighborhood store and they think that they can make some cash and help the folks in the neighborhood out by allowing them to sell some of their food stamps to them. So this is what's happening. You go in and you say, hey, I want $100 in cash. And the store owner says, okay, I'm going to charge $150 worth of food in order for you to get $100 in cash. Now, this store, it's supposed to actually have groceries, the type of groceries that you can even buy with the EBT card. Problem is that most of these corner stores will never have that amount of groceries that they could have actually purchased $150 at the same time. So, for some reason they don't get that. They're basically warning the government that there's fraud going on. So what happens is that after a little while, the government will understand that this store shouldn't have $250,000 worth of EBT going through it in a year or in a month. Yeah, some of these stores will have $100,000 plus going through in a month of EBT, even though it's a small corner store. Now, they'll have their employees, doing these transactions. Now, what you have to understand is that just because you're an employee, it doesn't get you out of it. You are part of what's called a conspiracy. So what does that mean? That means that you will also be liable, if charged, with paying back in restitution the full amount for the entire time that you were doing it. So if they can prove that you were doing it for 3 years, and during that 3 years, there was only you and the store owner working because you were part of that conspiracy, if there's $300,000 or there's $500,000, you will be charged with and expected to pay back that amount of money. Now, if the store owner can't pay it until that money is paid, if you are charged with it and it's part of your plea agreement, you have to pay that money. You may be paying for the rest of your damn life, but you're going to have to pay that money. So until it's paid, it's going to be on everybody's record, and they're going to be expected to make payments on it every month. Now, as I stated, if it's wire fraud, you can be charged with wire fraud and it can be up to 20 years. But if it's just theft of government property, the maximum is 10 years. Now, here's the thing. Do you believe that it's worth it to possibly have a felony just for buying some damn food stamps? I think not. Now, it's going to be up to you to determine if it's worth it for you. I can tell you now that for me it would never be, and for many people it would never be. So, even if you didn't know this, ignorance of the law is not a defense. So don't do it. But comment, like, and then discuss this below, and I may answer some of your questions.